Welcome to Horrify.world's Madness Marathon. To celebrate Halloween, the Horrify.world crew has made the Madness Marathon Halloween calendar. Every day we open a door, and behind every door is a recommendation for a free horror game that you should play. 31 days, 31 recommendations, hours of fun. And on the 31st, we have a special surprise for you. But enough talk, let's see what hides behind today's door. So, if you're not in the know, Resident Evil and Half-Life have had a long and passionate relationship on the down low without Capcom getting wise to it. In the beginning, the driving motivator was obviously to realize the locales of Resident Evil in full glorious 3D, and Half-Life happened to provide the tools that could enable modders to do just that, and a community willing to play the finished products. This resulted in a series of unofficial remakes and spin-offs, and most of them are completely unknown to hardcore fans of the franchise. Personally, I really like Resident Evil Cold Blood, a fan game set concurrently with Resident Evil 2 that puts you and your friends in the shoes of survivors trying to escape the Raccoon City outbreak, who then find themselves a little too close to Umbrella for comfort. But probably the ones that fans of the series will find the more interesting are the remakes. I've played through I think 3 remakes of Resident Evil 1 and they are all pretty good. And while they do try and go further with some of the original ideas, they are quite a little bit held back by the fact that the original Resident Evil, it's not very good. And also the Half-Life 1 mods, and that engine has some limitations. But just like the Resident Evil games, the Half-Life 1 engine got an update, the Half-Life 2 engine, aka the Source engine. And while there is no reason really today to remake Resident Evil games as mods because they are now fully 3D realized experiences, and some of them are even in first person now, that still somehow hasn't stopped modders from trying to outdo Capcom, and the game I'm about to show you, it might well succeed in outdoing the official Resident Evil remake once it's all done, of course. Which sounds like a lot, I know, but damn. Resident Evil 2 Source. It's a currently in early access full remake of Resident Evil 2. What the early access thing means is that there are very few if any custom animations and models for enemies, which means that we'll be fighting a lot of base game Half-Life 2 fast zombies instead of the Cerberus dogs, and antlions that are colored red, which I suppose are here instead of lickers, and or I don't know, maybe hunters? Who knows? But everything else is in place and everything else is fully fleshed out. It might be considerably shorter than the game it's based on, but I don't mind that. It recreates the most memorable parts, and I don't mind more than half the game being set in the police station. It's the most recognizable and the most fun part of the game. I've played the original a fair bit and the remake a tiny bit, and I gotta say, and I'm gonna get in trouble for this, I bet, this is more intense, this is more moody, this is more scary, and it doesn't depend on gimping the player's movements and controls to do so. To the contrary. I don't know if it's just a simple perspective change that makes it so much more startling, but something is definitely going on. I don't creep around corners in Resident Evil. I don't get scared in Resident Evil. Resident Evil games are barely horror games if you ask me, not that they aren't good and all that, but this is spooky, this is scary, and it at several points gave me a very good fright. I remember playing the remake, and there's this bit where the game forces you to crawl through a tiny opening, and I remember playing at that and thinking, oh boy, I sure hope that there is no zombie that's gonna come and grab me while I'm in this vulnerable position. And then I rolled my eyes when a zombie eventually did try and grab me while I was in that vulnerable position and couldn't defend myself. And as I was playing this, I would every single time that an enemy spooked me, I would out loud recite, oh wow, that was scary, and it was scary without forcing me into a compromising position where I have no agency. To the contrary, this happened because of my actions and lack of skill and awareness in this particular situation. I'm a hyperbolic, overly enthusiastic person. I know, I recommend stuff and I talk about it like it's the best game fucking ever made on a weekly basis. And I know that people play the stuff I recommend and don't have the same experience. So I'm not gonna say that this is the best thing ever, even though I've probably called it way better than the work it's based on already. I'm not gonna say that, at least not for now. What I am gonna say is that this is a very interesting technical demo that is evidence that not only can horror games be scary without resorting to artificially making them more difficult with shit controls, I'm also saying that Resident Evil can indeed also be more scary without resorting to artificially making the game more difficult by making the controls shit. Because this is it. This is Resident Evil 2 with Half-Life 2's snappy and precise gameplay, and it's still scary, despite the game not being artificially made more difficult by making the controls shit. And I give it a 10 out of 13. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope you've enjoyed the game in the video. Remember to go visit Horrify.world tomorrow and every day after for the remainder of October. You know, to see what other great free games are out there. From all of us here at Horrify.world, stay extra spooky during this month and take care.